Hi there, and thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast. We feature those who are in the process of overcoming or have overcome any type of life encounter, life obstacle that at the time seemed to be almost insurmountable. With this podcast, we have three objectives in mind. Our first objective is we want you to know with a confident resolve you are not alone. We want to work with you. We want you to know there are others who are working with you, who want to help you through whatever you are encountering, and together we will get through whatever you're experiencing.
Our second objective is there are multiple options for any life encounter you are facing. We want to help you develop a resolve that there are various options and solutions to any life dilemma.
Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If you're encountering something that was possibly a decision you made sometime in the past, and if you had the opportunity for a life redo, you would make a different decision. We want to help you with those critical thinking skills that can help you make an informed decision and not encounter what you're going through at the moment. We are the Cooper Culture, a veteran-owned business. We work with business personnel and families to develop and sustain connected relationship cultures within their families and organizations. That type organization is one where people feel wanted, appreciated, and genuinely a part of that organization. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty, who is helping me facilitate this podcast. Today we feature Jyoti Dhanota, who discusses with us her family upbringing, but then more importantly, some challenges she's facing personally, depression. She has experienced some life traumas, and some of these things are carrying into the workplace. She's dealing with seeming those people who don't respect her and acknowledge maybe some personal challenges she's facing, but they're not showing the willingness to work with her. She describes exactly what it is she's experiencing and the need for people who will accept her and acknowledge the strengths that she has. And she's not experiencing that right now. But Marty, what are some other things our listeners can gain from Jyoti and her life experiences?
Jody's a smart girl. She has gone to college. I'm not sure if she has a master's. She has extended education. She does have talent and strengths that she's trying to be a good worker and, trying to show these people that she is there for them. She wants to trust people, and she's had some experiences, lack of trust because of what they've done to her or how they've treated her. When people are different, just in personality or in strengths, and other people demean them, it's hard to take. So I can understand why she would have some anxiety and depression and just not trusting people.
She has written 16 books, and she's about to write her 17th book. She clearly has talents. Let's listen and learn together how she is overcoming some of her life encounters. Jyoti, great to have you with us. Our listeners are going to gain a lot from your insight as your perspective of your personal mental health, the job market, and what it seems is a transition you are making. And our listeners are going to gain a lot from the experiences that you have had, you're going through right now. And thank you for being very open and honest about mental health. But Jyoti, welcome aboard. Can you just tell our listeners very briefly about you? And our purpose is not to dwell on the past, but really the present, and how can we make the very best of ourselves in recognizing any aspect of our mental health. But great to have you with us, Jyoti.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so my name is Jyoti, and I am from California. A bit about myself is I am an author. I have put out 16 books at the moment. And I plan to have my 17th come out around April 5th because that's my birthday and I want to treat everybody. Usually, when it's my birthday, I like to treat other people. So that'll be something for the readers.
So you've written 16 books. The 17th is about to be published soon. And so, what aspect is it? What is it about your self described mental health, Jody, that our listeners can benefit from?
Well, I am someone that's very passionate about mental health. A lot of my like thesis, capstone projects throughout my grad school and my BA program had to do with mental health. Um, my books will also touch on mental health subjects as well, and I am currently in a situation where my mental health is being tested.
Okay, now define for us, if you would, at least your perspective of mental health. And is there a clear differentiation between your mental health and a mental disability?
I believe that a mental disability is something that you will get what's the word? Like evaluated kind of, I
Yes.
guess that would be the word to use, by a psychiatrist. Or and mental health is like I don't really see a difference in that sense because your therapist will tell you to like you have anxiety, you have depression and stuff like that. And a psychiatrist, mental disability, I'm thinking that you're kind of born with it.
All right. Now, are you self-diagnosed having anxiety, having what, negative depressive thoughts, anything like that?
Not self-diagnosed. I actually got diagnosed by my PCP first and then by my therapist. And now with this job, this is the first job ever actually that I've needed a psychiatrist. And I have been put on antidepressants.
All right. And
Yeah.
so do you, I'll use the word suffer from because I don't know what other term to use, but do you sometimes get into depression where you don't feel like getting out of bed and you don't feel like associating with people? Is anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I've had a few of those within not I guess it was like the first 3 weeks of January. I've been kind of going through that. And then last week was not last week. Last week was my first time seeing the psychiatrist as well. Um, and I was just like, this is the first job, like I mentioned, where I've had to see multiple therapists. And I've had to see two psychiatrists. One of them I just didn't vibe with, but the other one I was like, okay, I can talk to him. It's easy to talk to him. And I think that your mental health, when you are talking to someone, it's kind of like dating. You want to find the right therapist and you got to find the right psychiatrist. So, yeah.
As you think about your life and what you're experiencing, do you know if there's a chemical imbalance? And what I'm trying to determine from you, Jody, is it something biological? Is there a chemical imbalance? Or have you had some experience in life that it's hard to get over the memory of type thing? Can you help our listeners define what it is that's happening internal to you?
Yeah, I've actually had a traumatic experience. First, when I was coming from my yoga class, I was being followed by a couple and it was dark out and I was like, okay, these people are following me because if I would switch lanes, they would switch lanes. And I was like, okay, this is weird. But then I'm like, I'm on the highway. They're probably just going the same way as me, right? And then I make a U-turn and they immediately make that same U-turn. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And then I was like straight to the police. Like I didn't stop. They stopped because they thought I went inside of the like store. But I went straight to the police station after that. That was one thing that kind of caused a lot of anxiety of going out. And then the second thing is actually has to do with my work is I was going to the yoga studio meditation classes where I had met my um, current boss now. First, we were friends and stuff. We got along because me and her were like the two that were constant with going to our classes. And I had told her because she was working on her thesis. I already did my master's, so I was kind of helping her. And that day I still remember like we were having pizza. And I said, she said, are you going to meditation? I was like, no, I can't really afford it. And then we just started talking. And I was like, I had two friends already break my trust. And we were just getting into it because it was the summer. of 2024, and two friends had broken my trust at that time. And it's crazy to think, like, fast forward, her knowing that, fast forward to like December 5th, and she does the same thing. She like breaks your trust, and it's like, okay, this, like, what the hell? Like, you just stabbed me in the back with a knife, basically. And then the HR manager I had prior, because I am the HR assistant. So the HR manager I had prior to this Monday when the new one started, I thought like, okay, I can talk to her and stuff. So it was like the knife that Nina had put in, Morgan just twisted it. So it's like I really can't trust anybody at this company anymore.
Now, the two instances seem to be related as I'm perceiving the way you're describing it. The couple who followed you made you feel very uneasy. And did the police help you in that situation?
They said we can't do anything about it because you haven't been physically hurt. And I'm like, but I'm traumatized and you guys need to do something about this.
Yes, and I clearly understand your feelings about that because you don't know if they're going to track you to your home, your apartment, and you don't know if they'll do harm to you. Any number of things
Yeah,
could
and
happen from.
they just posted it all over Instagram literally last night, when they were saying that there's a lot of trafficking going on in this town now. And I'm like, oh, really? What about when I warned you back in August?
Yeah, I'm curious. Has this couple pursued you since then?
I haven't seen them, knock on wood, but I haven't seen them since then. And I hope that it was just like a one-time thing. And, you know, I know what the car looks like. I know what they look like because the cops didn't do anything. So I said, can I get my written statement? Like, I want a copy. I want a copy for my records. So I took that copy and I went to the store and I was like, hi, I have a police report. Can I please see the CCTV? I want to see who these people are. Because the cops weren't doing anything. So I had to take matters into my.
Well, now let's talk about trust a little bit. Are you the type person who automatically does or wants to trust someone, or does someone have to prove they are trustworthy?
I am someone that will trust like anybody. Like right now, you guys, like I just met you and I'm like, all right, I trust them. So yeah, that's my problem too, which is like what something I'm kind of working on in therapy too. I'm like, why do I trust people so easily, right? But now I'm like 29, I'll be 30 in April, and I haven't really dated anybody because culture stuff and like not having a job and like all that kind of stuff just kind of kept catching up to me. And I'm talking to my therapist now. I'm like, I got on the dating apps and then I was like, I told him, I'm like, I started crying because I'm like, how do I trust anybody that I match with? So I just uninstalled the app.
You and I are much the same, Jody. I'm the kind of person that I will right away want to trust people. And that person, if I could use the analogy on a 10-point scale, I'll assign people frequently a 10 for trust, and you back your way down if you prove yourself that it can't be trustworthy. Marty, on the other hand, my wife, who is just the opposite, that you start off at a near zero and you have to build your trust. And so Marty is totally opposite from me and us, that you have to build your trust. But you have experienced that three people, and maybe even more than that, who have broken their trust with you. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And do you now almost feel that nobody's trustworthy, or are you, say, very cautious or skeptical of everyone now?
Oh, very much so. Because now we have the new HR manager, which is wild because Parker is actually Morgan's brother. So it's not like I can be like, oh, the previous HR manager, or like I can't trust, you know? Because I'm like, at the end of the day, they just hired like the HR manager got is your brother. Like what the like I can't even do anything. I mean, I do like say, hey, this is missing and that's missing. I kid you not. I have a letter from my therapist that says that I have 6 months that I need to be working remotely. And I have not even bothered to reach out and say, hey, I have this letter because I don't know how they're going to react at the end of the day. Like I have accommodation letter, but at the end, like, FMLA is like, well, as long as there's no hardship to the company, like this and that, I am pretty sure there's not going to be any hardship to the company, but I don't know if they're going to accept the accommodation. Because, like I said, milestones, it's a very complicated, it's a very complicated place to work at because a lot of it is her friends, like Nina's like really, really close friends. And then siblings are getting hired too, left and right. So I'm going like, I can't talk to anybody about anything that's bothering me because I might speak to somebody who's like a friend to someone else, or I might speak to a sibling. And I'm like, I can't, at the end of the day, I just can't express my feelings.
Are you the kind of person who would like to express your feelings freely?
Yes. But I have learned now, like in my next job, I'm like, okay, because I'm very outgoing. I'm like a extrovert, so I love to talk and like like get to know people and like do this. So it kind of just like at my next job, I'm gonna be like, okay, just stay quiet, don't talk to anybody, don't trust anybody.
Now, the spelling of your first and last name would lead me to believe your parents, perhaps, were
Mhm.
not born in the United States. Would that be correct?
Yes,
What country are your parents from?
India.
And is there a culture in India that maybe your parents learned and you carried forward that naturally causes you to be cautious of other people? Is there anything like that? I'm just guessing.
Um, I guess it's different because my dad is also someone that like will trust people, but my mom's kind of like be cautious, but also like be nice to everybody kind of situation. Um, because they are from different parts of like India too. So I guess that kind of adds into that. But I was born and raised in California, so like there's a lot of things that kind of add up to trusting people for me. And now it's just like, how are you going to earn my trust? Now it's at that where how are you going to trust me? Yeah.
Are your parents with you now?
Um, like do I live with them?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, my mom's too, she got really hurt. So she had to quit her job. So I stay and take care of her too.
Now, I'm curious about the California culture. You live in about the midpoint of California. Is that correct?
Yes, I don't know if you've heard of like Fresno or Stockton and stuff, but I'm like an
Yes.
hour from both. So yeah.
Oh, all right. Now, is it part of the California culture that some people just take advantage of you type thing? And I'm just searching for different terms that may lead some other people to think, well, I want to trust you, but I just can't.
I think it's different for everybody. I really just think it depends on the person.
Yep.
Because I've seen some people that are like, I don't trust this or I don't trust that. And I've also seen, because we're such a small town, we only have like one high school, one middle school, right? So at the end of the day, everybody kind of just knows, like at that time, like now after high school, you lose so much touch with everybody that goes to different colleges and stuff. But growing up, like middle school, high school, I used to hear it a lot, like, oh, like not me, but like someone that's so gullible and stuff like that. And they would just take advantage of that person and, friendships and stuff. And even at milestones, it's like, I kid you not, last Friday, we had a staff meeting. We have like every month they have a meeting. And I didn't attend it because I was unwell. And also because I didn't want to be in the same room as these people. So I was here virtually, just how we are now, but I had my camera and my mic off because I did not have anything to contribute to the meeting, right? So it's wild because I feel like these people just peaked in high school. And then, because I could hear them, obviously I'm paying attention to the meeting. And they start talking about me like I'm incompetent. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I can hear you guys. And at the end, like, one of the girls, she just like points to the screen and she's like, oh, like she's still here, this and that, and makes a face and turns off the camera, like disconnects the Google Meet that I was participating through. So I'm sitting here going, you guys are like 2 decades older than me. yet you guys are acting like you're still in high school. And I can like, I don't want to work with people that, or have to deal with people constantly that are still stuck in their high school days.
You may not feel comfortable responding to what I want to ask you, but would you feel more comfortable in another company, do you think, if the people were right, accepting, and they have, and this company has what I call a psychologically safe culture. That is, we accept you totally, Jyoti, exactly as you are.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. One of the things that I actually did was write my resignation letter. I haven't sent it, but I was just so angry, and I'm not the type of person to go like, like my anger is write it out. That's how I deal with it, right? So I wrote my resignation, and I kid you not, I wrote everything in that resignation letter that they did for me from A to Z. And I was like, okay, that feels good now. Now I can just step away from it and like delete it or whatever if I want. But at the end of the day, just knowing that I've got to that point where I would just write, write, write. But then having to write that resignation letter, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm out. Like I'm done. So, yeah.
I want to ask you to treat me as if I were a prospective employer.
Mhm.
What are your strengths, Jyoti? What you would tell me you are good at and you can contribute what to my company? And just talk about your strengths and your attributes.
Oh, well, first of all, communication, interpersonal communication as well, because I taught interpersonal communication for 2 years at the university level. And I've also have my master's degree in communication studies. So definitely that. Organization is another one. And I guess building like rapport would be something that I'm good at. Putting together presentations, public speaking, all that kind of like, I guess that falls into communication too. I'm also really good with like Google Workspace, Microsoft Office, all that kind of stuff.
No, that's great. And you've written 16 books, and that's obviously a huge talent right there.
Thank
You're 29,
you.
and for some people, it would take about maybe 3 lifetimes to write 16 books.
Right.
But writing, I guess, comes easy to you. Is it somewhat natural?
No, like I said, writing is my way of like healing. Whenever I'm going through something, I would like to just kind of write. If I'm having a hard time, I like to incorporate that into my books and stuff. Like in 2022, I believe it was, or 2021, around October, my sister had gotten into a car crash, and I was the one driving her around. I am the eldest. And so I was driving her around wherever she wanted to go. And, she works in biotech, so she makes more than I do. And she said to me, she's like, how does it feel to be the unsuccessful big sister? While I was driving her around her. I love your reaction because that's the one I was. Um, yeah. So that's a line in Contracted Together because I was like, after my fourth book, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, whatever. Like, I'm done writing. And then Contracted Together was like my revenge book, I guess, because she was, and that line is in there too, like the unsuccessful big sister. Everything is in there, and I put it out as like my way of being like, no, you know what? Screw you. How dare you talk to me like that? And that book just flew off the shelves and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. I wanted it to be a revenge book, and it's doing exactly that.
I will tell you, Jyoti, as I'm listening to you, Marty has a personal life story that she can relate to. That Marty, you can tell it better than me, but in high school, the senior students had their, as frequently happens in high school, you vote to determine who's the most likely to succeed.
Right.
Marty, Marty was rated the least likely to succeed.
Yeah, I was voted least likely to succeed. So,
And so Marty carried that with her for a while, but Marty has had the attitude that I'm sensing, much like you, Jyoti. I will, I'll show you wrong. And
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that's exactly what Marty has done throughout life. I will show you wrong. A brief part of Marty's story is she did not complete school at a business college, but that was because it just didn't, nothing lined up exactly right. But yet Marty graduated with a near straight A degree several years later, and she did it in as she was working. So she was working the proverbial 8 hours a day, and then at night would study to get her degree, and she got nearly straight A's with that. So that's a part of her determination. Jody, I'm sensing the same thing in you. You are a very determined person. Have I described you accurately?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that even now with everything that's happening, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like if you guys do fire me, I'm just not like I took what this past Saturday and Sunday to just go through all my emails and stuff because like when they fire you, the first thing they're gonna do is delete your Google, right? Your workspace is the first thing they're gonna get rid of. So this past weekend, and the like past weekend stuff, I've been downloading all emails and stuff because like I said, Nina knew that I was taking care of my mom too, because like I said, she was my friend first, right? And she deliberately cut my hours and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is fucked up. Like this is fucked up that, we're trying to run on like my dad's income and my income right now, right? So she cut my hours down by 10, and I was like, okay, well, screw you too, then I just filed unemployment. And on the unemployment paper, the wild thing is we work remotely. I filed unemployment December 5th. On the paper, she wrote that I refused to come in person. But we didn't get the email until January 17th or something like that that says all employees will report in person. So I called no, I don't think it was January 17th, it was before that. But EDD called me on January 17th and they said, hey, this is what's going on. And I was like, why? Like, because I wanted to know why I didn't get my thing right. And so I told him, I was like, you know what? This is when I filed, and this is when we got the email that says that we are required to be in person. And even the person was like, what the hell? Even they were surprised. And I was like, do I need to print it? Or where do I send it to? Because I will print that email out and I will send it.
Do you feel like you can function best if you were totally independent of your parents? And I don't mean anything negative about your parents, but do you feel that you just need to be in your own home or apartment and living alone?
Not necessarily, because I don't mind like helping around when I can. And I'm also saving money by not having to pay rent, stuff like that. Um, but eventually I do like plan to. The thing is where I wanted to move to, like everybody is from that area that kind of works at Milestones. They're all from like the Manteca area, which that's like where I've always wanted to go to. And now I'm like my one of my best friends lives in that area. And I'm just saying that area because I don't want to say that actual like city, right? So that area in general, it bothers me, and now I'm like really anxious to go there because I don't want to run into those people, you know.
Okay, now I want to follow you, but you said don't want to run into those people. Who are those?
Oh, the people that are like the admin team for the company,
Oh,
because all of them literally, that's how like they like one person is the neighbor and one person like lives across the street, and that's why I'm saying that she just hired all of her friends and people that she knew. So at the end of the day, like you can't really talk to anybody because you don't know who's gonna snitch.
Are you getting another job?
I'm not having that much luck. I have like had one interview and that's about it.
okay.
Yeah.
I will tell you almost always throughout life, Jody, there's you may run into people that just say, Jody, you're so, we use the term different,
Right.
and Marty and I are each different.
Mhm.
But you will find people who just say, "Well, Jody, you're just very different," and
Right.
you may have to say at points, Jody, that okay, yes, I accept I am different,
Mhm.
but I have strengths, and I'll find the right people that can employ my strengths, and I will align myself with them, and those quote, those people may never change about you, that their opinion may still be the same. But I think, Jody, if you find that job where
Mhm.
you feel I'm with people, I, Jody, am with people who
Mhm.
recognize my strengths, employ my strengths, totally accept me,
Yeah.
that is going to bring about a lot of satisfaction to you. Marty and
Mhm.
I know there's a continuum between home and work that
Right.
when everything is working together, you can be happy and fulfilled in everything you're doing. You can overcome any life encounters.
Yes, definitely.
And so, is it a matter of just having the persistence to find the right people, the right job, that maybe
Yeah.
finding another employment is what you need?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And right now I'm making $20 an hour, but I'm like, I would rather take a pay cut and be happier than be as miserable. And like even yesterday, I was like trying to eat, but my stomach was hurting so bad because of the appetite thing of depression. And I'm just it's wild because now I want to wait and see when I meet with Parker on Monday. I want to see if he accepts the letter from the therapist or not because I will like now, like I said, I've already had two write-ups and I'm like, okay, the third one, whatever, because at the end of the day, I have everything documented, right? So if they don't accept that letter and stuff, I'm gonna be like, okay, what the hell? Like, like I can, like I can call EDD and be like, okay, what do I do now? Because I might have to quit because I don't want to have it in my records forever that I was terminated, right? So I'm like,
Yes,
better.
that's true. But I will tell you, Jody, I was terminated from my position after being there for 78 days. And there are a lot of people who do not care if you've been terminated, Jody.
Mhm.
Don't care at all because they want to know who you are now. The past is just not all that important. And you want to surround yourself with people who accept Jody for who you are now and the person you will become. The past is in the past. It does not matter. I can promise you, Jody, there are people who are exactly like that.
Yeah.
And so when you find those people, and you may have to travel some distance to
Hmm.
find it, and because you're not in an area that's heavily populated, but
Right.
I can, with enough persistence, Jody, that I can guarantee you, you will find the right place, the right people. And I want to encourage you to have the determination that you interview the company and you make the determination if this is the right company, these are the right people, if you can be fulfilled wherever it is that where you are interviewing, because you have every right, you have the responsibility to interview the company to make sure there's a good match. They will totally accept you.
Right.
Jody, thank you for being very vulnerable, very open, very honest with us,
Yeah.
our listeners, about the different things you're going through. But
Mhm.
Jody, I sense a very determined determination in you that you will find the right place, the right people, and everything's going to work out. We just don't know how soon that will be,
Yeah.
but I want to encourage you, Jody. Never, never, never give up because the
Oh yeah.
people who want you and accept you are there. You may have to go through a bunch of people to find them, but they do exist.
Yeah, and it's not just even with work, but it's also with the trust thing too, like how you're saying everything about finding people that exist. It's not just like employers too, but finding that new group of friends and finding that partner and stuff like that at the end of the day also.
And it's exactly what it is. And when you persist enough in just never go into hiding or never isolate yourself, that you might have to go through several people who say, "Well, Jody, you're whatever," and you
Right.
just say, "Okay, well, you're not the one. Next."
Yeah.
And so you just keep going and talking with people until you find those who totally accept you, and those people are the ones who can help you eventually find the right people, the right place.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with what with the next aspect of things because I'm very much now in a let them mindset. And it's like, oh, like they did like this person was talking shit about, okay, let them. Or like this person's doing, okay, let them. Like just that's where I'm at now, where I'm just like, cool, let them. Because I do believe that once somebody has shown you their true colors, don't try to look through that rose-colored glass still. It's like once someone shows you who they are, believe them, right? Like once they've showed their true colors, like that's what it is at the end of the day. That's
Yes,
them.
and I use the term frequently. Whatever it is you say, however you respond to me, you have just defined yourself,
Yes.
and that might mean that well, we're not going to be real close friends. I'll
Mhm.
speak with you and say hello. I'll be friendly with you, but
Yeah.
we don't share the same values, the same thoughts, and so I'll be friendly to you, but you're not going to be part of my quote inner circle.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And even now, I don't know if you guys have known, but our generation now, like, and the younger generation too, doesn't even do like a 2 week notice, because what we've realized is like with the 2 week notices, that's when the retaliation kind of starts. And that's when they'll be like, we're gonna fire you instead, like this and that. So I know a lot of people nowadays are like, hey, meet one on one with their manager that day and be like, I quit. So then it's like, oh, boom. Yeah, and that's what I think, like, because like I do have that letter. It's just like I don't even know where I put it because I was just so angry, and I'm like, you know, find it and be like, this is why I'm quitting. Like, so you have it documented and I have it documented. This is why I had to quit because A, B, C, all the way to Z.
Yes, and I will tell you, Jody, when you are with the right people, they will say, "Well, Jody, okay, this we are not the right fit for you, the best fit for you, but I, Jody, Ron, and Marty care enough about you. We will help you find the right place." And it's not just, "Hey, accept you, you're out the door, goodbye, you're on your own." No, we care enough about you. We will help you find the right place because we try to create the right leadership, the right culture where people have compassionate care for Jody. And Jody, even though you won't work for us, it's just not a best match. We care enough about you. We will do whatever we need to do to help you find the right employment. And that's the kind of company, those are the kind of people you need to surround yourself with.
Yes, of course.
Jody, we are happy to continue our dialogue and do whatever we can for our listeners. Jody, you're on the West Coast, California.
Yes.
We are on the East Coast in Maryland. Because of technology, we can talk with each other, and we together might be able to help you find the right place. Jody,
Right.
thank you very much for being willing to share yourself.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
We appreciate having the opportunity to share our and our guests' life experiences with you.
The Cooper culture advances organizations to achieve and sustain high retention rates, connected communication, and trust through personality insights and principled leadership. You can contact us at our website, thecooperculture.com, and you can contact us directly at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, Marty, at thecooperculture.com. We work with you to help assess aspects of your culture to advance the environment and people to their best performance. We do that through our staff of certified personal performance coaches, leadership trainers, keynote speakers, and DISC personality behavior experts. You can book a speaking engagement directly through our website by contacting us at ron@thecooperculture.com. We look forward to sharing our life experiences with you, some of which are profound, some of which are pretty funny. Some of those life experiences are ones we'll never do that again because we've been through stuff. We truly look forward to working with you, speaking with you, helping advance you in any way that we can.